It's time to talk the Odyssey. You saw our Out of the Theater review. Let's go into it. Alan, your review posted on Film Threat, and I'm not going to bury the lead. You gave it a 4 out of 10. Tell us why and tell us what's in your review.
Tell us why. I mean, I mentioned it. It's probably one of the most pretentious movies I've seen in a long time. Look, this should have been an epic. And I'll say this, just because you make an epic, it doesn't mean that it isn't epic or should be treated as thus. And the immediate comparison has to be Lord of the Rings. This one just, I don't know. There was so much wrong with this movie. I'll start with the acting. You mentioned it before, and I mentioned it then. I was seeing Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland on screen as Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, and Tom Holland. There was very little effort given to characterization. I will say that there was only really one actor who gave, I think, the best characterization. That's probably Samantha Morton as the witch,
as Circe.
As Circe. It's like, she brought this energy to this film that just wasn't there. The dialogue, I mean, I've never seen. Look, I saw your review of on the Nooner today. You said that Anne Hathaway was overly emotional and crying. My feeling was that Anne Hathaway was fine. It was her supporting actors who were so low energy that it made her performance look over the top. I just, the Matt Damon was just so glum and one note in terms of deliverance of lines that was just like, there's no energy here. This is like Rock playing Maui. There's just no energy going on here. And there's a lot of things that you like that I just didn't feel. The Cyclops scene, I mean, quite frankly, seen it done better. And
you've never been really a fan of horror.
No, but I've seen those kind of monsters in Lord of the Rings. Quite frankly, I saw it in Harry Potter as well, and they're better in those two movies. It was like I'm watching a movie from what should be a master director, and everything about this movie doesn't feel special in any way, other than the fact that it was shot on an IMAX camera, and that it's supposed to be his epic. The fight scenes, the war scenes, they sneak out of the Trojan horse. I'm like, I've seen all this before. I've seen it all before. And then this theme of, I want to go home. It's been so long. I want to go home. And then Tom Holland's character, I want my daddy back. My daddy's still alive. I want him to come back. How many times do you have to say that throughout the entire movie? How many times do we have to get the point? And the thing is, that's a great story. That's a great theme for a story, but it was so mishandled here that it just felt labored. That's what you build a movie around, is this desire to be a family once again. And it just felt like, well, look, if we say we want to go home, then therefore you're going to buy into it and buy in the fact that we've earned that. And this is the thing. This is what I'll say about this entire movie. Nothing is earned. The plot is not earned. Everything we want to feel about the family getting back together is not earned. We'll talk more about the Elliot Page character, but there's an arc in that character that is not earned. Nothing is earned in any way. There's the whirlpool scene. I have never seen a more a tense moment that felt no tension whatsoever than that whirlpool scene. And I'll say that it felt like Christopher Nolan had shot an 8-hour movie and had to cut it down to 3 hours, because that was the problem with the editing, is that there's no chance to breathe. Because once one scene's over, snap, we're in another scene. And it felt like it was just a series of highlight scenes throughout the entire movie. There was just no moment to rest, to breathe, and let an emotional moment sink in. And I'll give you, so I'll end on two things. One is, so obviously this is the War of Troy, and then the return back, and they face monsters, and every time they face danger and then have to run away from the danger, I kept thinking to myself of Monty Python, where they're selling "Run away, run away." I mean, there are at least 3 times where I just kept thinking, "Run away, run away." And then, of course, we talk about the time shifting of Christopher Nolan. There's a lot of time shifting in this as well. And there's a moment, so I won't. I'm prefacing it by saying you don't know when this is in the movie, but there's a moment where there's a conversation between Odysseus and Penelope that felt like theater, community theater to me. Like it was set up on a stage, and there's just no emotion in it. It just felt like they were just reciting lines. And then I lied. I'll end on this one last one. The Athena character. There's a point to the character at the end that just didn't feel earned. Like it was tacked on to say, hey, this is every emotion you should have felt while watching the film, and we're going to bring it to you at the very end. And so now you get it. And by then I was like, how many times did I roll my eyes in this movie? How many times did I sigh at just the bad dialogue and the bad acting? I think it's at 98% now on Rotten Tomatoes. Me and 2 others make up that 2%. And the more I think about it, I can't get myself to like this movie at all. The more I think about it, I do ask myself once in a while, am I wrong? And I think about what I saw, and it's like, I'm not wrong. This is just, again, spoiler alert, the Emperor is naked.
Let me give you my take, because I agree with you on some things. Let's start with some of the things that I enjoyed. Chris Nolan could straight up make a horror film. The scenes with the Cyclops, being portrayed as a sympathetic monster, the puppetry of this giant Cyclops, which I would compare to, if you've ever seen, I haven't seen this play, there's a King Kong play on Broadway where they have an animatronic puppet Kong. Yeah. It's kind of, I think, how they may have done that effect using photo trickery and some giant props, which were really effective.
Which they stole from a Universal Studios tour.
Yeah, the scene with Circe turning the men into pigs, that I thought was straight up out of a Ken Russell, The Devil's horror film in the 70s.
Best moment in the film.
It was one of the best moments. There are other moments of sheer terror. There are moments that should have felt epic, but I feel like I've seen bigger, more epic things in other movies like Lord of the Rings. Chris Nolan is very married to not using CGI in his movies, and for that I commend him. But I expected the movie to look better. It's very muted, the color. I expected it to be bigger in scale. There's a scene where we see maybe, is it 1,000 men? I don't think it is. Might be a few hundred, but I was really waiting for that giant scale. Didn't happen. So I like, there were moments that are familiar to me, having seen various versions of the Odyssey, that I thought were very well done. But then I felt the same, in a similar way to how I felt when I saw Matt Reeves' The Batman, where I really loved parts of the Batman, mostly the beginning, Robert Pattinson's portrayal of Batman. But there are things I really didn't like. There are things that do not work in the Batman, and that is true here. First up, the modern language really just lands with a thud. It diminishes the weight and the scale and the gravitas of what should be more classical language. I mean, that to me is why did he do that? He was trying to be modern. It reminds me of another deconstruction, because what we see is, through the Odysseus character, he's kind of imbued with PTSD from this war, and he needs to go home. He needs to go home, but he is traumatized. by all of his experiences, right? And I feel in a way like the movie El Topo by Alejandro Jodorowsky is a deconstruction of the Western made in the 70s, which became a very big cult film. It kind of created that genre. Midnight movie. That movie is very weird. There are aspects of this that are weird in that way where it's sort of modern. It's set, feels like it's set in modern times, telling a classic story. So it's similar in that aspect. The language did not work for me. Straight up, a character says, fuck off to someone in the film. You are correct. I agree with you on this point. It was hard to see the characters. I saw the actors. I saw Matt Damon. I saw Anne Hathaway. I really saw John Leguizamo, but I don't feel like I saw the characters. I saw those actors. Lupita Nyong'o, the controversial casting, let's talk about that. She's barely in the movie. Yeah. Under 5 minutes tops screen time.
both characters she plays.
Playing both characters. She is disfigured, which is something we didn't see in any of the trailers. And she's, I mean, look, Nolan's concept for her being the most beautiful woman might have been that she's exotic to the Greeks because she doesn't look like one, or what one would think. This was his take. It didn't sideline the movie for me. The big change was Elliot Page as Sinan, as the soldier who, and we're going to get a little spoilery here because this is not part of the original story. Sinan is a soldier that is left behind to trick the Trojans into accepting the gift of the colossal horse, which they drag beyond the gates of Troy, which is how the men, we know the story. Sinan was never told there were soldiers in there and sacrificed his life being killed by the Trojans. So in the very beginning of the movie, Sinan is killed in a way, killed off. Sinan return. We learn then that Sinan was swapped out by Robert Pattinson's character. I believe it's Antonos. He's one of the suitors trying to win the affection of Penelope. And he, as a young boy, tricked Sinan and swapped out. So Sinan goes to war while Antonos stays behind.
In the place of.
The place of Antonos. And really, Elliot Page plays, I would not say a young man, plays a boy, small in stature. And this bookends the story where we see Sinan's, sacrifice and death, then is a proxy for Achilles in Hades, where Odysseus goes to visit Hades to see the dead and meet Sinan, who is angry that Sinan was felt betrayed. Then we see it bookended at the end with the conclusion of Antonos. So Sinan is a very significant, although the screen time may not be large, a significant addition to the story. And I'm telling you now, I predict Elliot Page will be nominated for Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars. I'm not sure about a win. It's very possible. Maybe they'll give it to Elliot Page. Elliot Page could very well win Best Supporting Actor for the Odyssey.
Yeah, because they couldn't do it with Emilia Perez.
I'm saying it now because the role has such weight. Hey, they say you want to win an Oscar, what do? Die in your movie. You die in your movie. And one line, Odysseus says, Sinan is the greatest soldier he's ever known. Mm-hmm. That is the biggest problem I have with the movie. So you've got some of these amazing sequences with Circe and turning men to pigs, the Cyclops, like other sequences. I thought were the siren sequence. I think was too short for me. It's in the film, but it's very brief. A lot of things he was basically cliff noting. He was cliff noting other parts of the story. Okay, and I think it really hurt. But I think the biggest thing is the modern language, and I thought I agree with you, Alan, that the actors. I was seeing the actor and not the characters.
Yeah.
What is it?
Back.
So, but let
quick.
me finish.
Oh, yeah,
let me finish. Then we'll discuss. The movie is a mixed bag, but like every Nolan film, I'll see it the first time and like, okay, I need to think about that. Oppenheimer, I really disliked the first time I saw it and grew to really, it was the musical score. The score in this film is not memorable. And the score in previous Nolan films does so much of the heavy lifting. A lot of the heavy lifting is from the score. Okay. And the music here, I didn't think was that great or that memorable. And it bothered me that the score wasn't in previous Nolan films, Dark Knight, Oppenheimer, Inception, like Interstellar, some of the great scores, even Tenet had a really amazing score. And it's not there for this movie. It's probably one of the worst scores for a Nolan film. Yeah. And a lot of the scores for his movies really pull the movie along. So that I had an issue with. So it's a mixed bag. You rated it a 4. I would probably be more between a 5 and a 6 at this point. However, I will see it a second time. I'm going to see it a second time and see if I notice new things. I know you're done. You're not going to see it.
I'm done.
You're done. You're not going to see it a second time. But let's really talk about where this ranks. Here are Nolan's scores. Currently, the Odyssey stands at 98%. I think you brought it down.
Yeah.
His top movies, Dark Knight, 94%, Oppenheimer, 94%, Memento, 93%, Dunkirk, 92%, Insomnia, 92%, Dark Knight Rises, 87%, Inception, 87%, Batman Begins, 84%, that's too low, Prestige, 76%, Interstellar, 73%, Following, 82%, Tenet,
69%.
So I'll end with mixed bag. If forced to give a rating between 5 and 6, I will see it again, give it another chance. Alan, discussion points.
Yeah. See it again, because maybe this time the Titanic won't sink. The other thing is, I mentioned before, but how did they describe the Elliot Page character? The
greatest soldier I've ever known.
Yeah. And how did you realize that they were the greatest soldier ever known?
Because Odysseus said it in a line of dialogue.
Yeah. So the battle sequences in which the person, Elliot Page's character, was that didn't impress you? All the battle scenes and fight scenes? Because why?
Because character got killed immediately.
Yeah, there were no. The reason you, again, didn't earn it. The reason this person is the greatest warrior ever known is because we're told that as the worst kind of storytelling you can bring to a movie.
Well, Elliot Page is in the movie, I think, portrayed as a boy that became a sacrifice.
And that could be considered greatness, I guess. To sacrifice yourself. But again, what qualifications did that character have to be in that place in the first place?
Now, let's talk about where this movie is going to land. This is not going to bomb. The spectacle alone and Nolan's reputation this movie will be, I think, very big.
It will have a spectacular, it'll have a spectacular opening weekend. Yes. Partly because most of the screenings that people are buying tickets for are the 70 millimeter IMAX, which is a premium price right off the bat.
IMAX screens are packed for 3 weeks.
The IMAX 70 millimeters, yes.
Yes, are packed for 3 weeks. However, tickets are readily available for all the other screenings.
For the Infinity Vision theaters.
But don't count out Nolan. His movies don't do like 200. They make modest. When I say modest, that's understatement. They make solid money first weekend, and then his movies have legs because it becomes a cultural event to see the movie so you can talk about it. So we'll see where it ends up landing box office. But one thing I can guarantee you, it's going to get all the technical awards, the tech awards. It's going to win or be nominated. There is a new category that just was this year. Casting director wins an award. This will not only get nominated, it will win because casting Elliot Page, casting Lupita Nyong'o is a statement. And basically Chris Nolan, it's his choice in the end. The casting director is probably going to get an award because the voting members of the Academy are going to make a statement with their vote. And so you're going to see Odyssey is the movie to beat at the Oscars. Good luck. It's got a whole lot of them locked up now. Box office, we'll see in the coming weeks. Final thoughts, Alan, and we'll go to comments.
Sorry, Project Hail Mary. You had a great run. And it's no one will care about your movie because this is the greatest movie ever made, as I'm being told constantly on my X feed.
Well, I think there is a bit of fear from critics to say how they really feel. Yeah. And I know this because you and I have been going to critic screenings together for years.
Yeah.
And you see there's like a group think of like almost a fear to say what you really think. And I think there are other aspects of society now where people are in fear of saying what they really think about the truth of the world. But we're talking movies here and critics. And really you're seeing on Rotten Tomatoes, it's really going to be about that audience score. I don't expect the audience score to be low at all. I think it'll be solid. I don't think 98%, but it'll be solid. We'll know by Monday. But this is going to win a lot of Oscars. And Elliot Page, Best Supporting Actor, mark my words.